Welcome into the Paul Farrington Show. Paul, joined by Jack Weinberger, Robert Ziggy Ziegler at the University of Virginia, and Zach Bloomquist. Producer Zach, the best producer in the game, is with us. Zach, congrats on the promotion, by the way. So you'll be with us all the time now.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Look, the whole crew.
Spirit.
The whole crew's back together. I feel like it's been a while.
It is. Well, yeah. I mean, Zach's been slaving away with concrete.
And it's been since the Super Bowl.
And he's back.
I can't believe you fools picked Kansas City, by the way.
Yeah, that was bad. That was bad. A horrible game to watch.
I mean, a low IQ, like newborn baby could have sat this year and watched football and said the Eagles are going to win this game. I guess I watch football. You guys don't.
At the end of the day, it's you always find a way to be right. You're always right.
I'm surprised at you two. I thought you guys knew better. Like, you watched this whole season and were like, "Oh, the Chiefs are going to win this game."
Yeah, I was following them. I was following them to the end.
This is the most foolish
You
thing
can't blame Paul. You can blame me, though. I was off on the Chiefs all year until it was time for the big game, and I finally sided with them, and they lose.
Why can't you blame me? What, I just don't know any better?
Well, you're just delusional, right? You were on the Chiefs the whole year. The person who backs them up the whole year, Paul, you were right most of the time about them.
I was
wrong always.
17 times.
Yeah, I was right 0.
Yeah, and then when it matters the most, I staked my reputation and I was correct.
Yeah, luckily I wasn't willing to stake my reputation. Like that was kudos to you, Jack, because that was a big claim you made. You staked the reputation. You said you'd show up naked on the show.
Oh, you don't gotta be a rocket scientist.
Yeah, I wasn't going there. I wasn't willing to go there.
Do you watch football?
But congratulations. That was a good
see
call.
Who the better team was.
It was a good call. So yeah, now producer Zach can be here to keep things in check, so we don't have bets about showing up naked on the shows. But we'll see. We'll see if he does.
I low-key wanted to.
Oh, I bet. I bet you were rooting for
I
the
feel
Chiefs
like
deep down.
Did the fans low-key want to also?
That Cooper DeJean pick. I was over at Jack's house, and when Cooper DeJean intercepted that pass, you just saw that little oh crap in Jack's eyes. He wanted. Although I'm happy. I'm happy that I didn't have to stand here next to that. All right. Hope everyone's having a happy Tuesday so far. We appreciate you taking some time to hang out with us. You can follow us on all platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, at Paul Farrington Show or at Farrington Show. And if you can't watch along on YouTube, you know where you could go, Jack?
Spotify
or Ziggy?
Apple Podcasts?
Yes, you could go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts to continue watching the show. And of course, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We are desperately trying to add subscribers right now. Jack was saying, the off season's hard to add subscribers. It really comes down to when big things happen, but we've just been hovering at 18,000.
Speaking of big things, it's a teaser for something later on.
Oh, yes. We're at the end of the episode. We're bringing back the drafts today. And Jack had the idea of the large things draft.
I'll tell you guys right now, I have the best large thing. I'm taking it in the last draft.
Yeah, you do.
Single-handedly win me the draft of our audience.
It's who knows where this is going to go with the large things draft, but I love the drafts. They're probably my favorite part of the whole offseason.
Oh, yeah.
If you go back,
that's why I show up here in the offseason.
So we used to do the drafts a long time ago before we moved into the new studio, and they're all over. And before really we got our viewership up. If you go back on our Instagram, there's some really funny old drafts. I love the scary things draft. What else? We had the breakfast food fruit draft. I thought fruit draft is great.
The pink things draft.
Pink things draft. Those were really fun.
Was our first the breakfast draft? That was our first
breakfast
one,
was the first one. That was great.
I thought fruit was our first one.
I think fruit.
Oh, it was fruit.
Maybe it was fruit.
I took strawberry.
Yeah. You passed on Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
It was great.
I took
it was
LeBron.
Great. Yeah. So we'll do the draft at the end. The rest of the show today, Lamar Jackson is being listed as the number one overall player in the NFL by quite a few websites. We're going to react to those rankings. Is Lamar actually the best player in football right now? Is that a debate that we can have? The best player in football for a while, it's been Patrick Mahomes, set in stone. Can we revisit that conversation? The 2020 quarterbacks, that's been highly debated online. Zach, your guy Tua is in there, along with Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, and Jordan Love, who a lot of Packers fans love on this show. We're going to rank those guys and say who's the best quarterbacks or top 5 from those 5. But first, let's start off with little Matthew Stafford here, because this seems like one of the dominoes, actually an unexpected domino that has to fall this free agency or this NFL offseason here. The Rams have given Stafford's agent permission to speak to other teams about his market value. The sides are discussing a new contract right now. It's all going to come down to money. You see Peter Schrager, who's very close with Sean McVay. I believe they host a podcast together, or at least at one point did. The relationship's still fine, according to Schrager, but Stafford wants $50+ million per year. Think about $50 million+ per year. That's unbelievable. Like I open my bank account and I'm like, oh, all right, like nice. I got the paycheck in. I can go do something. $50 million a year, just unbelievable.
You're right now being a TA. I'm making like $50 per year.
$50 million. So currently Stafford's getting $40 million a year. And his agent, Jimmy Sexton's going to go out there and see what other teams would be willing to pay him on the market. So a few questions come into play. It's like, would Stafford go there? How much would teams be willing to pay the Rams in a trade? A lot of conversations have to be had before we can really boil this down to where Matthew Stafford could go. And Albert Breer said at least 4 teams have thrown their name into the ring, their hat into the ring for Matthew Stafford. So let's talk about this, guys. First question I wanted to ask you, is Matthew Stafford a quarterback at this point in his career who's worth $50 million to you?
Yeah.
Easily?
I mean, I think he's we said most episodes on the show this year that the Rams are dangerous because they have him. Like the Rams are a top team because they have him. Stafford's the best quarterback in the NFC West. Stafford's arguably the best quarterback in the NFC. You take Stafford off the Rams, they're not a concern. Stafford being on the Rams single-handedly is the reason that we're picking them as our teams you don't want to see, teams that could make a run. When you have somebody as good as Stafford, and this is rare, I mean, I'm going to group him in here, and I'm not comparing him and saying he's as good as guys like Lamar and Mahomes. I'm not doing that. But I feel like you can take a guy like Matthew Stafford, put him on any team in the NFL, besides the Jets, because they stink. Put him on any team in the NFL, and you can be like, okay, now with Stafford, this team can make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So somebody like that, yeah, I think it's worth it. Super Bowl champ.
The quarterbacks who make 50. Oh, sorry, Ziggy. The quarterbacks who make 50. Oh, I'm sorry. I was going on.
What I say is going to be complimentary there.
You go ahead.
So look, it's $50 million sounds like a whole bunch of money, and I can understand why you think it is. He currently makes $40 million a year, right? You know what? On average value per year, that puts him ranked of quarterbacks in the NFL.
Where?
Take a guess.
8th.
No, 40 million. I like 17.
Yeah, he's 15th.
Oh, really? Wow.
So when Jack
look
is
at that.
describing Matthew Stafford here, and I think that's right, as one of those guys who's a difference maker, you're about to list off some names. $40 million a year means you're getting paid like an average NFL quarterback. And we'll talk more about it moving forward, but he is not an average NFL quarterback this year or next year, I think.
Look, when you look at the quarterbacks who are making $50 million per year or more, you have Dak at 60. The 55 club is Burrow, Love, Lawrence. Then you have Tua and Goff at 53, Herbert and Lamar at 52, Jalen Hurts at 51, and then you drop down to Kyler, who's at 46.
I mean, I think Stafford.
Yeah, right.
Like, don't you think he's better than all those guys besides like Lamar and
Burrow,
right?
Yeah, that's it. And it depends what you think on
Hurts. Actually,
it depends what you think on Hurts or Herbert, but like it's still he's very clearly in that group of players. So I'm totally with you, Jack. I think you nailed it here. Like the Rams have an open window right now. Kyron Williams is great right now. Puka Nacua is great right now. That defense with all the young guys who came together should be great next season. If Matthew Stafford's not there, they're not winning the Super Bowl. And I don't even know, like with Aaron Rodgers, I don't think they go that far with. I think Stafford's much better than Rodgers right now.
Yeah, they were division champs. Where'd they go? They beat Minnesota and then lost.
They lost in Philly. Remember, they were what? They were
Right,
two Jalen Carter monster plays away from going to the NFC Championship and hosting Washington.
I thought they were going to win in Philly too. But I think
if it wasn't a snowstorm,
I think Stafford is so worth that 100%.
Yeah. So here's the thing about Stafford, though, that I think is easy to miss and why the Rams got here, why they didn't want to hand him a big deal last offseason. He's 37 years old. And you look at someone like Tom Brady and think, well, maybe Stafford's going to be able to play longer. Drew Brees hit a wall at 37. Kirk Cousins was 36 this year. Ben Roethlisberger, Jack can tell you what happened when he turned 37.
He hit the biggest wall.
Like, there is a wall that guys...
That guy went from like 100 to 0 real quick.
That was unbelievable.
So the worry, and I think why Matthew Stafford, why the Rams are considering moving off for him, is if a team's willing to hand him a deal, if you're the Giants, you're desperate for a guy, and you're willing to hand Matthew Stafford a deal for $100 million guaranteed over the next 2 years. If he's willing to take a retirement paycheck, sure. I can see why the Rams don't want to do that. They are not going to negotiate against a team like the Giants or the Raiders if they're desperate. I think it makes sense for both sides to try and stick in the framework of the current deal. Do what the Rams did last year where they negotiate on a year-to-year basis. But it's extremely risky, no matter how good Stafford has been for the past few years, to guarantee him more than a year's worth of money. Because we've seen when you hit this age, guys like Peyton Manning, Matt Ryan, Ben Roethlisberger, usually things get really bad really fast.
I think you're seeing more and more in sports right now.
Yeah, Ben was just horrendous.
I think you're seeing more and more, though, that guys like Brady and LeBron are the outliers, right? Everyone's starting to think that you can play into your 40s, and most guys can't.
But like
it just doesn't work like that.
Seems like an in shape dude. I mean,
he can still throw.
Yeah, you look
like Ben's arm.
Big Ben was just. You saw that guy didn't work out. He didn't do anything.
Ben's arm was completely shot. Like Phillip Rivers' arm, his went as well. But Ziggy, you really? So you wouldn't pay Stafford $50 million? Like for next year?
I would happily pay him $50 million for next year, and I think the Rams are willing to pay him a lot for next year too. But if you look at the negotiations, Stafford wants 2 or even 3 years guaranteed. That's my worry. I don't want to guarantee him $150 million.
I mean, if I'm the Steelers, go. Sorry,
yeah,
go.
I was going to say, are the Giants or the Steelers or the Browns or the Raiders, like all the teams being linked, willing to do that? I don't know. The Rams shouldn't be. They're too young and have too bright a future.
The Steelers, I believe, are the favorite to get him in the odds, aren't right?
I think they are currently. But Ziggy, I don't understand that. Why wouldn't you? You have a bright future and a great team right now. I feel like if you're the Rams, the window's there.
Like, why not keep your good quarterback?
Because you don't want to throw away 2026 and 2027 on a giant Matthew Stafford deal.
I mean, if I'm the Steelers, I'd give him $100 million trade Watt.
No,
you give him a 2-year, $100 million extension
and trade TJ Watt. Yeah,
you would not do that.
100%.
No.
Because watching
TJ Watt is your Patrick Mahomes.
No.
You
but that's the problem.
Patrick Mahomes.
But that's the problem. You can't have your Pat Mahomes on defense. We've seen it for the last 3 years now. Not having a quarterback after watching Big Ben for years is the most brutal thing in the world. I don't care how good TJ Watt is. I would get rid of him for Stafford in a heartbeat. 1,000%.
We got to clip that.
Yeah, that's great stuff. Do you think with Matthew Stafford, immediately Super Bowl contenders, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
With TJ Watt, we're not. I'd trade Watt for Stafford immediately.
The defense would plummet, but I agree with you.
No, but now the NFL today is an offensive game.
I think out of the teams that we've been talking about too, Steelers, these are all the teams that are interested. The Steelers, Titans, Jets, Giants, Raiders, Colts, Browns, you said, Ziggy. Like, Pittsburgh's the only one there that is even close to the level of the Rams for Stafford to compete to.
We're a contender with Stafford.
Like, no, you're a contender. You're a nice situation for a quarter. I think you need some more weapons. But if you go out there,
we draft Ibuka. We have Stafford, Ibuka, and Pickens.
That's you get rid of Watt. You give Stafford now. Ziggy, would this be giving Stafford's current deal? If you give him a 2-year, $100 million, you would do extension for so that he's now under.
Stafford wants this year rewritten because there's no guaranteed money. He wants a lot of money this year and then next year too.
Yeah, so you'd give him a 2-year, $100 million deal.
Yes, and I would trade TJ Watt for him. Yeah,
I will say this though. I know the Steelers are the team that he's being linked to because they'll be good. You can go back and check my solo video on this. The Giants are closer to being contenders than people think. The Giants had basically every good player except Malik Neighbors injured last year. If they're willing to hand over the money, I think Stafford will really want to go there. I know they've been linked to speculation about hiring his brother-in-law. I don't read a whole lot into that, just like I don't read a whole lot into the Rams hiring Aaron Rodgers' best friend as their quarterback's coach. But I think going there can make a lot of sense if they're willing to offer the money, and it's not totally giving up on your career like going to the Raiders would.
How close do you really think the Giants are, Ziggy? Like, really?
The Giants have star power on offense. They get a lot better with Stafford. I think that's a borderline top 10 offense. They've got a defensive line with a lot of stars. If they can improve the secondary and the linebackers just a little bit, I think they definitely make the playoffs next year. Yeah, and then I think Stafford has shown he can go on a run.
I mean, a place like Pittsburgh will be much better for him than the Giants.
I think Pittsburgh is better. I don't think they're as better as you think because I think Malik Neighbors solos George Pickens. Malik Neighbors is one of the best receivers in the
Pickens
NFL.
Is great. Pickens is
a very good receiver. I think Pickens is so underrated. It's crazy.
But this is the thing with Matthew Stafford. No matter who you drop him into, you're like, oh, I could see a world where they like the Colts. If you drop him into the Colts,
that's what I was saying
with,
before.
With Pittman and Jonathan Taylor, like most places, like you said, yeah, exactly. With Watt, if you have the quarterback, most teams are not that far away once you get your guy. I mean, that's the whole thing with
a quarterback
and the
is
Texans.
the most important.
What is he doing?
Is there a reason why there's a giant cursor on my face?
Producer Zach comes back just flamed from Ziggy. Flamed.
All right, let's move on.
All right, that's good. That's good Stafford conversation right there.
I would
like that.
trade.
I
would trade. I'd give him $200 million trade Watt.
All right.
What I would do? Get me a quarterback again, please.
Well, you guys
Please.
feel like you just feel like you're stuck in this hell.
TJ Watt's great. I love watching him force fumbles and get sacks. Great, we get the ball on our offense, can't do anything. Give me Matthew Stafford.
If Matthew Stafford does leave, do you think this Alex Van Pelt hiring signals that AR-12's heading to LA?
I think Rodgers would 100% go to the Rams if Stafford left LA.
Rodgers, he stinks. He's done.
I think I don't know if the hiring would signal it to me, Ziggy. Like it's something that I'm definitely paying attention to.
Did you see the reaction from Rodgers when Van Pelt left?
No, I don't
He was
remember.
furious.
But
yeah, no, you can look up the story. He said that he wasn't consulted, that he loved Alex Van Pelt. It was really silly. It was Aaron Rodgers being a drama queen. But I do think he likes Van Pelt. And the Rams are the best situation Aaron Rodgers could possibly go to realistically this offseason.
yeah, other than maybe
We ain't taking him.
yeah. But no, I think he would. California guy, play with McVay. Again, I think the Rams are in a position where even if they draft a young guy, McVay might look at this and go, hey, I could get 1 year of Rodgers, like 1 year of great Rodgers while we bring up the next guy. And the team around him is ready to go. So I definitely think Rodgers would then end up in LA. But my guess is Stafford remains a Ram. That's where I put my money right now. And I'd be really surprised if they let him go.
I think he's a Ram or a Steeler.
I don't think, I think that's where I'd place my money too. If you gave me Rams, Steelers, or the field, I'd probably go with that. Okay, so the 2020 quarterbacks, going back now 5 years to when Zach's life changed with Tua Tagovailoa being selected by the Dolphins with the 5th overall pick. Zach, do you still stand by the Tua over Herbert pick?
No.
Or you tired of that?
Tired of that.
He's given up. He's given up.
Yeah.
So the way that draft went, number 1 overall was Burrow, 5 was Tua, 6 was Herbert, 26th overall was Jordan Love, and 53, the Super Bowl champion, Jalen Hurts, went to the Philadelphia Eagles. A lot of people have been talking online about how they would re-rank those top 5, especially in light of Hurts winning his first Super Bowl trophy. So I thought it would be, especially given Zach's fandom of Tua Tagovailoa, is there any other ranking than this, guys? Burrow 1, right? We're all in agreement?
Wrong.
No, I think I put Hurts.
Ben DiNucci, number 1.
Ben DiNucci. I have the list of the other guys here. There's Jacob Eason. There's Ben DiNucci. Nate Stanley, Vikings 7th round draft pick. I'm waiting for Ziggy, insert one of these guys.
Was that the James Morgan draft?
James
He got
Morgan.
a 99 card in Madden. I remember that.
What? He did? What?
Yeah, so it used to
Jets
be
fourth rounder?
There was some contest or whatever where you could pick a Madden player to become a 99 in Ultimate Team, and some Jets fan picked James Morgan.
Oh my God.
Hurts is 1.
Really?
Then Herbert. Sorry, no, then Burrow, then Herbert. Then who's the other two?
Love and Tua.
Then probably Love Tua.
Ziggy, surely you disagree?
I think Joe Burrow is not getting enough respect because the Bengals have struggled the past few years. I don't think it's his fault. So yeah, I've got Joe Burrow at 1. He had an MVP caliber season. I don't really care what Jack says about it. Number 2, I've got Jalen Hurts. Number 3, I've got Jordan Love. Number 4, I've got Justin Herbert. Number 5, I've got Tua.
Love over Herbert, really?
I think that Herbert's a great player. But at a certain point, Jordan Love over the past 2 years has shown more, I think, than Justin Herbert ever has.
A lot of Packers fans were getting on us for giving Love an excuse with the injuries. I think it was a legitimate excuse for him this season. All the injuries that he dealt with.
Yeah, I think it was.
But again, keeping that in mind, I think the order has to go Burrow 1. It's not. I mean, I appreciate your respect for winning, Jack. But Burrow has to be 1. I don't think he's underrated, Ziggy.
I don't think he's better than Hurts.
I don't think he's under.
I mean, Hurts went in there and kicked the living crap out of Cincinnati this year.
Hurts also beat Lamar. He also beat Mahomes in the Super Bowl. I mean, the Eagles are great. But
Hurts
I'm
is-
putting Burrow number one. I don't think he's underrated in the NFL. I think he might be a little disrespected in that top 4 conversation at the moment. That's what I would say. Like everyone agrees he's in that top 4, but almost everyone has him as the 4th best quarterback in the league behind Mahomes, Lamar, and Allen right now. So I'd put Burrow 1. 2, I would go Jalen Hurts. At some point, you have to respect the winning. It's been the 2 Super Bowls, won one of them. 3, I'd go Herbert. It's just so much talent still, but you're waiting for him to do something. 4, I'd go Love. Unfortunately, Zach, at 5, I'd go Tua. I feel pretty confident about that. And I don't think that there's huge gaps between Hurts, Herbert, Love, and then maybe a little drop to Tua.
I feel like the 4 and 5 with Love and Tua. There's the top 3 is clear. Whatever, or you want to put Burrow 1 or Hurts 1 or Herbert 2 or Herbert 3, whatever. I think that top 3 is clear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think there's a big gap between Jalen Hurts and everybody below him, the 3 guys below him.
Interesting. See, I would gap it Burrow to then Hurts, Herbert, Love, then another little gap to Tua. So I think 1 and 5 are locked, and then that 2 through 4 is
the thing
closer.
is, Jalen Hurts has been to 2 Super Bowls.
Oh, no, yeah, that's
He's
why I
done
have him
so
too.
much more
Yeah.
than everybody else on that list, including Joe Burrow.
He's a beast. He's a beast.
I think Hurts is 1, but Burrow's that same tier. Then I think a step below is Herbert. The step below that's Love. Step below that's Tua.
I think that's understandable. I mean, what a great class of quarterbacks too. When you step back and
It really
think
is.
about it, Zach, does it
When
bother you?
Tua's the clear number 5, and Tua's not a bad guy. He's not a
No,
terrible
he's not. I mean, he's not
quarterback.
that. Yeah, he's not that.
He can
bad.
operate a good offense. That's incredible.
better
He's
than
the
Russ.
5th best quarterback in the draft.
He just doesn't have clutch factor.
It's better than Russ.
Zach, do you feel stuck in like purgatory with Tua a little bit as a
Yeah.
Dolphins fan?
Oh yeah. There's no clutch factor in his bone. He won 1 game, and that was in college. And ever since then, he has done absolute bupkis.
Man, producer Zach.
That he won 1 game and it was in college is fantastic.
Yeah. Horrible.
I mean, it's,
Am I wrong?
I mean, no,
name
like,
the
you're
last
kinda right.
clutch game he had where, like, game on the line. Like, every year it seems to be at the end of the season, game's on the line. We need to win the game to make it to the playoffs. And what does he do? He sucks.
you know what the funny thing is too is that like he probably has the clutchest play in the history of college football. And now a few years later, we're talking about him just being super unclutch.
Remember, that was insane. Didn't he take like a 15-yard sack?
Yeah,
right
it was
before
second
that?
and 30.
Second
It was
and
a
30.
30-yard touchdown.
You know, Zach, there was one game this year where I thought Tua had actually overcame the demons in Buffalo when he led you down the field and you scored. And then, the defense gave up like a 3rd and 15 and he lost to Buffalo.
Probably.
I thought he did. He finally did it. I think we came on the show and talked about it. Oh, Tua finally had the moment and the defense failed him. It just feels like something in Miami is a little bit off. Not sure exactly what it is. Okay, we'll move on to final topic before we get to the draft here. So the PFF top 101 players of 2024 was released. Here are your top 5, or top 10, I'm sorry, from 10 to 1. Saquon Barkley at 10. TJ Watt, the guy that Jack's sending off to LA at 9. Chris Jones at 8. Creed Humphrey. This is where Jack and the offensive lineman is going to be funny. Remember, like right before the Super Bowl, you're like, we can't put an lineman in this top.
Yeah, I don't know who that
So
is.
Creed Humphrey,
Is that an
the
Eagle?
Chiefs stud center, is 7. Josh Allen at 6. Derrick Henry 5. Joe Burrow 4. Jordan Mailata at 3
That's absurd.
for the season. Myles Garrett at 2. Insane that like Myles Garrett on the block.
I think Garrett's the most overrated player in the world.
Miles Garrett is not on the block. He asked out.
asked to be on the
Browns do
block.
not
That's what I
wanna
mean.
trade him.
That's what I mean because Myles Garrett asked out.
What does Myles Garrett like ever do? Like the
Be
like
the best edge rusher,
No,
one
but
of
like-
them in the
but
history of football.
like TJ Watt will literally take the Steelers from the worst team ever to a team to the playoffs. Garrett just doesn't do anything.
Oh, I just that's absurd.
Like,
Myles Garrett has had double-digit sacks every season since 2017.
You got to watch Brown. You just don't watch the Browns.
No, I do, and we block the shit out of him when I watch them.
I don't know what you're watching.
I guess I only watch Steelers Browns and we just dominate them.
Yeah, I don't think you're watching the Browns
But-
on a week-to-week basis. I think you watch the Steelers beat up on the Browns, and then I thought he was still pretty good. Wasn't he good in Cleveland? They beat you in Cleveland this year. I thought he was really good.
No,
in
we
that.
beat them in Cleveland.
Oh, did you beat them?
Yeah,
It was a good game. No, the Browns won in the snow game
yeah,
with Jameis.
yeah. Well, Garrett didn't do anything.
I'm sure he did. So I'm sure. And then number 1 on the list was Lamar Jackson. So what I wanted to ask you guys was, if you take a look now in the discussion of the best player in football, I feel like a lot of people are putting Lamar Jackson in that number 1 spot with the first team All-Pro, won MVP last year, came back even better this year. A lot of people were upset that Josh Allen got the MVP award. And when I sit back and think, who's the best player in the league right now? For years, I've just automatically said Mahomes, like, let's end this conversation. But after losing the Super Bowl, I feel like I'm opening up my eyes a little bit more and willing to accept some other answers. So is this, first off, do you guys agree that this is the first time in a while where we can look at best player in the league and have a more serious conversation about Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, and Lamar?
Oh, you left
Anyone
off
else?
Lamar Jackson's biggest accomplishment.
What?
He convinced Jack that he's a good football player.
Yeah, you convinced
Yeah.
You know
even
how
Jack.
hard that is?
That takes a lot, especially for him, but he flipped me completely. What I would do for I'd give him like $1 billion on the Steelers.
Do you remember a couple off seasons ago when there
I'd
were
cut off my
rumors-
right arm for Lamar.
Remember the
Jackson.
rumors about Lamar Jackson being traded, and there were actually people who going out there saying, like, I don't know if I'd give up 2 picks for him. Like, he's probably going to get hurt. And since then, he's basically won 2 MVPs.
I
He's
might,
been crazy.
if the Steelers got Lamar, I might be willing to get a vasectomy for my life.
I mean, you might be 10-7 and get into the wild card. And no, with Lamar, you guys would be
Oh, Lamar was
ridiculous.
favorites. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just still nuts to me that was even a discussion. So right now, I've always been Team Mahomes in this conversation. Is it fair now that we can question, hey, that number 1 spot is up for grabs?
Right now, I think it's Hurts. I mean, yeah, he just kicked the living crap out of Mahomes in the Super Bowl.
Well, the defense.
I mean, look at Hurts' resume this year. He's got a win in Cincinnati against Joe Burrow. He's got a win in Baltimore against everyone's number 1 player in Lamar. He made a fool of Mahomes in the Super Bowl.
Well, he didn't make the. I mean, he was great.
Well, no, I know. But you know what I'm saying?
I'm
Like,
saying there's a
He had,
gun
he had a
to.
better game than Mahomes.
He
Oh, he
did.
did.
True.
He did.
Well, yeah, I
Like-
mean, Mahomes was pressured 40% of the time.
Jalen Hurts, there were the doubters. Like he had a rough end of the season last year. He was turning the ball over. He was hurt. Philly collapsed. They were 2-2 this year. There were the critics. Then Jalen Hurts is like, everybody, keep your mouth shut. Watch me.
I like
And,
Jalen Hurts. I
he-
mean, I'm a fan of Jalen
I
Hurts.
think right now he's number 1.
But I'm saying if the question here is, let's say there's a gun to your head and you need a quarterback to win a game. You are not taking Jalen Hurts over Lamar, Burrow, Allen, or
Hurts
Mahomes.
just won the Super Bowl. I am taking Jalen Hurts.
Okay, so I guess if that's your answer, then yeah, you're taking Jalen Hurts. Ziggy,
I'm taking the most recent winner of the.
there's a gun to your head, Ziggy. Who do you want leading your team?
Mahomes is 4th.
Look, there's one answer. Patrick Mahomes is the best player in football. And here's why. Lamar Jackson has been great. He's been a very, very good player. He might be number 2. I think I have him at number 3. I really like Josh Allen. He's an incredible player and deserves all the attention he's gotten. But since Patrick Mahomes has been in the league, every single season, he's been incredible. And it doesn't matter what goes on around him. Surround him with the best receiver in football. He'll win you a bunch of Super Bowls. Take away the best receiver in football. He'll still win you Super Bowls. Give him a bad offensive line. He'll only take you to the Super Bowl. He may or may not be able to win it there. Patrick Mahomes has been in the Super Bowl basically every year as the offensive engine for consistently one of the best offenses in football. You're overthinking it. And I know people want to react to the latest new thing, and Lamar Jackson has been around a while. He's no longer the latest new thing. He's shown he's one of the best. It would take a lot of evidence to get me to move off Patrick Mahomes. And even 2 MVP level seasons from Lamar Jackson, can't do it.
It's funny because I do think when you look back at this past year, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson were better than Patrick Mahomes was this year. Like,
Yeah,
they were. No doubt about it. But I do think that and you can't say that like Aiden O'Connell dropping the ball or the Broncos getting their kick blocked. Like, that's not Mahomes, right? They should have lost more games than they did this year, the Chiefs. I still think I go Mahomes too, given that in those big games, he does have that factor of he shows up and he makes the play usually and when it matters. Now, again, Allen and Lamar better than him this season, but he still beat Josh Allen in the playoffs, right? He still beat Lamar in Baltimore a year ago when the offense was struggling again and Lamar had won MVP that year. So I'm still Mahomes because I trust him the most when it matters. But I do think this is the closest it's ever been between the three of them. Where if someone said Lamar Jackson's the best quarterback in the league, I'm not going to say you're crazy. And if someone said Josh Allen, I'm not going to say you're crazy. I think that all three of them, and you could put Burrow in there too. Burrow is upset that he wasn't more part of the MVP discussion, as he should be. Like those four, anyone you take, I'm okay with it.
I mean, Hurts has that.
Here we go again.
Hurts has that swag factor though. Like
no, he's cool.
Let's say your team's down by 4 with a minute and a half, and they film Hurts walking onto the field. It's like, oh crap, he's going to lead him down.
I see you like trying to hold back a laugh.
Like
here's the difference. Jalen Hurts, you look at him and think he's definitely going to lead them down. He does most of the time. Patrick Mahomes, do you think he's definitely going to lead them down? And he does every single time.
Yeah, then they meet head to head, and one is better than the other.
He has been. Well, Jalen Hurts,
aren't they 1-1 in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, but I think Hurts is 2-1 against Mahomes. Didn't Hurts beat him in Kansas City?
I think they did beat them in Kansas
Hurts
City.
is the better quarterback than Mahomes.
Well,
I'm picturing it like my Steelers, right? If we have a 4-point lead late, who I don't want to see is Jalen Hurts.
There's no way that's true.
Yes, it is.
I can't possibly. All right.
Like he walks onto the field, you look at his face, like he's about to lead them down and win the game.
I feel like that's the thing with Mahomes. But that's literally what Mahomes does every time. That's like what Hurts. He's known for doing.
Hurts is his kryptonite, though.
Maybe now he is. Maybe now. I was
Lamar,
curious.
will choke. Allen will choke. To me, it's Hurts or Mahomes.
I was looking up. So Mahomes, everyone knows, has been in 7 straight AFC Championship games. I was like, I wonder how many more championship games Mahomes has been in than like specific franchises. He's been in more conference championship games than the Cardinals, Lions, Saints, Jaguars, Browns, Falcons, Panthers, Seahawks, Jets, Bengals, Chargers, Bucks, Ravens, Giants, Bears, Titans, tied with the Bills, Commanders, Dolphins, and Colts in their histories. I mean, that's insane,
it's
right?
Insane. It's not that surprising because 7's a ridiculous number, but just the fact that he's been to 7 is ridiculous.
The Giants
he's the same number as Steve Young and Joe Montana.
But the Giants being in there, like the Ravens, you wouldn't think like these are winning franchises. Zach, your Dolphins are there at 7 too, though you've never seen anything close to that success.
Zach's seen road playoff games.
Zach, what's the best season that Zach's had? Last year? Was that it?
Yeah, probably.
Has to be.
Last year, the Chiefs killed him in the wild card round.
Yeah, the 1 seed during the year, battle for the 2 in the last game.
The Dolphins, I feel like the last few times they've gone to the playoffs, besides that close loss to the Bills with Thompson, like they just go on the road and get murked.
Well, and they're also always in. They also never have their starting quarterback playing.
Yeah,
like there's like some catastrophic or a slew of catastrophic injuries.
We beat them like 30-6, and they had Matt Moore playing.
Yeah, that's. Oh gosh,
do you remember that game, Zach?
I think he killed one of our quarterbacks in the process too.
Yeah, Bud Dupree came in and leveled someone.
All right, why don't we head over to the large things draft right here, and we'll see how this goes. Again, we haven't done a draft in a while. Large things, leave that up to interpretation. So Zach will judge at the end of this for people who are unfamiliar, and I guess whatever discretion you want to have here on what a large thing is, Zach will ultimately determine whether or not that's a good large thing. So it's not just we're not picking the biggest.
We're not going for the largest thing. We're going for a good large thing.
The best large things, as you said pre-show. So Ziggy, why don't you lead us off with the first pick? We'll go Ziggy, then we'll go Jack, then we'll go me. This was Jack's idea, so I feel like the second spot's a nice place for you there. Bounce back and forth.
I have it in my head what I'm taking.
There's an easy answer here. At 1-1, best large thing, I'm going for the large spicy chicken sandwich combo meal from Chick-fil-A. You get that sandwich, you get a large drink, you get a large fry. It can be a lemonade. You can make it a large milkshake if you want. You got so many different options. But the spicy chicken sandwich, a large combo meal, I'm sticking right there. 1-1.
That's a great pick.
That really hurts me too, because I was going to take a large chocolate milkshake, but I feel like now.
I mean, I think
you can get a large milkshake with this if you want.
Yeah, I'm taking that from it.
No, Chick-fil-A too is also like the best food in the world. So to get a large spicy chicken sandwich, large milkshake,
Ziggy went 3 for 1 right there. Large fries.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking. That's a good pick. Yeah, that's a good one. Number 2 overall, I'm going to take Blimps.
That has to be one of the worst picks we've ever had.
I think Blimps are just super cool. It's like when they fly over a stadium, it's neat.
You're not even the Goodyear blimp, just blimps.
Like, but when you look outside, it's like, oh, look at that blimp. That's pretty neat. Like a plane is just like, oh, whatever, it's a plane, helicopter or whatever. But you look like you stop and stare at a blimp when you see one flying over your house. It's like, oh, that's a cool object. You can get like footage, like Blimps film, some stadium footage from the top. I think it's a very neat thing, a blimp.
In case you wonder whether or not we like prepare this ahead of time.
Whenever I see blimps flying over, I'm like, that's neat. Like I stop and stare.
It's a horrendous
What are you
selection.
talking about?
I stop and stare at blimps.
That's weird, man. That's strange.
Like, you look at a plane, it's like, oh, it's a plane, whatever. But a blimp is like, look at that blimp up there.
How many blimps you seeing?
Well, that's the thing, not a lot. It's rare, so it's cool when you see one. So I think it's a cool, large object.
Right.
Also, like, look at like footage from above in stadiums. You get that blimp footage. That's neat stuff.
Oh boy.
So blimps for me is number 2.
All right. We'll continue on. All right. So now I have back-to-back picks. I have no idea where I'm going with this. With the first one, I'm gonna take one of my favorite movie characters of all time, and I'm gonna go with Godzilla. I'm gonna take Godzilla with the 3rd overall pick. I feel like just a monster in real life, a monster on the big screen. Well, I guess not real life, but he's just been in so many different movies. Now bringing him to life in live action has been unbelievable as a Godzilla fan. So I'll go Godzilla with my first one, and then I was gonna go chocolate milkshake, but Ziggy really screwed me here with the Chick-fil-A large combo thing. Something gigantic that I like.
Well, large, not gigantic.
Large, yeah. I'm gonna go. Good Lord. I'm going to take. I'm going to take the sun.
Okay. That's worse than blimp.
I'm going to take the sun. Well, here's the thing. But I mean, everyone likes a nice warm summer day, right? You go to the beach, you cool off in the water, you need it to survive. Like I think the sun has many features that make it a great selection.
Isn't the sun smaller than most planets?
No, what?
What the
We're losing subscribers of this.
All right, we're back over to Jack.
How big is the sun?
Well, it's like
the sun warms up like 3 or 4 planets.
Is sun bigger than the Earth?
The 3 or 4.
Well, like 3 or 4 before it like really starts to drop off. You know what I'm saying?
Go ahead, Jack.
the sun is. Wait, hold on a second.
I look at the sun; it looks kind of small.
from Earth.
I can see the whole thing.
How many?
I can't see the whole Earth.
Times bigger than Earth is the sun. The sun is 109 times bigger than the Earth.
That's a myth, I think. That can't be real.
All right, we're back over to Jack, who took the amazing selection of blimps with the number 2 overall pick.
I cannot believe my 2nd round pick also fell. I'm taking that big red monster from Bugs Bunny. What's his name? Gossamer? That huge red monster from Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, it's Gossamer.
Yeah,
It's not
Gossamer.
bad.
I'm thinking Gossamer.
All right, Gossamer. I'd never heard him called Gossamer. Okay, Ziggy, we've now
It's
gone.
over. It's over.
Uh,
Here at the turn, large thing. I'm taking big man touchdown.
Big man touchdown.
When a huge offensive lineman scores a touchdown in the NFL,
in
especially
football?
huge defensive tackle off a fumble or whatever, big man touchdown is going in there.
All right, big man
Everybody
touchdown.
loves a big man touchdown.
That's a good one.
And then this is an even better one. We're going to Wisconsin for this, particularly La Crosse, Wisconsin. We're taking the world's largest 6-pack.
Is that like
It's
a 6-pack of beer?
gigantic. You could have a 6-pack a day for 3,351 days out of this 6-pack.
Wow.
World's
Wisconsin
largest
big
6-pack.
All right, but Zach can't drink. Just remember that.
Oh, that could be a big hit.
But
Yeah,
Zach knows that's cool. I don't drink beer. That's cool.
that's a going. You're having a good draft, Ziggy.
Go ahead.
Back to Jack.
Back to
Back
Jack.
to me. All right. Large objects.
This is your draft.
I know. There's so many.
Empire State Building.
All right.
In there.
I'm gonna. That's a good one. No. So I'm going heavy on entertainment and TV and cartoons. I'm gonna take Popeye after he eats the spinach. When he gets all the big muscles, becomes like a hero mode.
I think you might be having one of the worst drafts of all time. in anything.
What do we got? We got
Blimps, Gossamer, and Popeye post spinach. Popeye post spinach that's a great large object.
This is not good for the people who comment "Get Jack off the show." You are not helping your case.
All right, so
Gossamer's a great pick.
So that wraps you up at Blimps, Gossamer, and Popeye post spinach. That's not bad. All right, I'm feeling I have a selection in my head here that I just think makes a lot of sense. It's just I already took Godzilla, so do I want to get too into this category? I'm not sure. All right, I'm gonna go with dragons.
you came in last.
I'm gonna go dragon. I saw something the other day. It was like when you start any sentence or start any story with a sentence but then the dragons came, it just sounds way cooler. And I was like, wait a second, he's kind of right. Like if I'm like Ziggy and I were hanging out, we were playing NFL Street, but then the dragons came.
Yeah,
like that's just cool.
You just lost with the dragons.
No. I like dragons. I like dragons. Okay, Zach.
I'm surprised you didn't take Taylor Swift. One of the largest musical artists in the world.
Oh, Taylor Swift's music. Oh my gosh. There was a whole nother world of like
I wasn't even
people's
thinking.
Catalogs for singing.
I wasn't even thinking.
Like,
No one took Shaquille O'Neal.
Shaq could have been in there.
Shaq.
I do like Shaq. I went dragons.
Shaq's gross, man. I don't want that.
The Rock.
I'd rather have Gossamer.
Maybe I could have taken like Stonehenge or something. That's cool. Like the Coliseum.
The Monstars.
The Monstars are big.
That's not what we picked.
The Empire
Let's have
State
Zach
Building
grade
is
us on what we
icing.
did pick.
All right, Jack.
All right, Zach. So you have Ziggy with the spicy chicken sandwich meal, the big man touchdown, Wisconsin 6-pack. Ziggy, I don't think this is as much a runaway as you thought. Blimps, Gossamer, and Popeye for Jack.
Post spinach.
And then
the
for
spinach.
me, Godzilla, the Sun, and Dragons.
Drum roll, please.
I think I'm gonna go with. I think I'll take Ziggy on this one.
Oh, Ziggy had him with the spicy
Come
chicken
on.
sandwich.
Paul second, Jack last.
Oh, what? Do you know who Gossamer is?
I know who Gossamer is.
Do you know who Popeye is?
I know who Popeye is. Blimps at the 2 is
That's
insane.
offensive.
You don't like Blimps?
At 2?
Well,
At 2 overall, you're taking Blimps.
what was you taking over Blimps?
I would have taken Shaquille O'Neal over Blimps.
I think Blimps are larger than Shaq. Blimp, have you ever admired a blimp?
How about the fucking... Oh, Jesus. The Puff...
Stay Puft Marshmallow Man?
Yeah. The Stay Puft
That was in
Stay Puft
in play
Marshmallow
for me
Man.
as
Yeah.
well. I probably should have gone with him over Dragons.
But producer Zach, he decides on the show. But if you're a fan, comment who you think won. If there's any Jack defenders, I think you're going to have to comment because that might be the worst draft in the history of the entire show.
They'll be out there.
Let us know what you think of Blimps at 1-2.
My defenders will be out there.
Well, you have very little defenders.
Your Blimps are neat. I'd take Blimps over Planes.
Jaws Shark is pretty big. I'm just looking at things here at the bar. You could. There's a lot of big things. I feel like that was a pretty weak draft right there.
That actually was a horrible draft.
All right, there you go. You have it for the Paul Farrington Show. We will be back later on this week. Oh, we'll do another draft. We'll bounce back from this draft with a new one. We'll see you next.
What do you mean we'll bounce back? You'll bounce back. I did
Like
just
T-Rex could have been good too. Yeah. Well, I'll bounce back. Jack thought he had a great draft. We'll see you soon.